when you see the trailer where you just see a green fist and then Superman's fist coming together like this, Hulk punching each other.
Oh man, that's a wet dream for me right now.
People will go.
You still have wet dreams?
Right, topic number 5. Yeah, we've got loads of topics today. Is about Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the new name of Warner Brothers and Discovery when they come together. When, you know, obviously because Discovery have bought Warner Brothers off of AT&T. So David Zavlav, who is the head of Discovery, says that Warner Brothers Discovery, which will be the new name, won't try to win the spending war in streaming. Yeah. So this comes to us via the Hollywood Reporter. Mm-hmm. And it says the Discovery CEO, speaking in an earnings call, said of the merged firm, "We want to compete against Disney and Netflix, but we are a very different company. The company to be created by the merger of Discovery and AT&T's Warner Media will focus on profitable growth in streaming," Discovery CEO David Zavlav said Thursday, with his CFO Gunnar Weidenfels vowing a conservative approach to content spending. Entering the final stages before the deal closed in a strong financial position, Zavlav told an analyst on the firm's fourth quarter earnings conference call that we plan on being careful and judicious, also highlighting that the call it could be the last before the deal closes. Our goal is to compete with the leading streaming services, not to win the spending war. Zavlav argued that the company's combined content spending wouldn't necessarily have to increase significantly after the deal closed, emphasizing the company will focus on being measured and smart in spending when and where it makes sense to accelerate growth and better serves users rather than spending for spending's sake. That would ensure sustainable growth, the executive emphasized. His comments came at a time when Wall Street has increasingly focused on expanding streaming content budgets and when Hollywood giants streaming bets will turn profitable. We want to compete against Disney and Netflix, but we're a very different company. Zavlav explained at the conclusion of the call. Those are two great companies. Disney has a group of people around the world that absolutely love their product, and they are doing very well. Netflix has a very broad appeal product and is doing a wonderful job building out that brand. But Warner Brothers Discovery will rely on very identifiable IP, intellectual property, and we are much broader than Disney, Zavlav said. Pointing to HBO, he noted that it has Euphoria right now. It just had Succession. It has The Gilded Age going right now. Would HBO be doing a lot better if it had 3 more really successful scripted series at this moment? It is not clear. Yeah, I'll leave the rest.
I think we've had enough.
So, I think...
No, what do you think?
Let me go first on this one. I think for the first time in a long time, we have a very smart individual in David Zavlav when it comes to the streaming war. Mm-hmm. Because he's not saying that he's not going to spend, because he is going to spend, but he's not going to be spending to outdo Disney and Netflix. So, and that's very smart, because it's not about that. It's not just about chucking money at the problem.
Well, we know,
you know what I mean?
Netflix do that all the time.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why the Netflix films are so rubbish.
Right, exactly. So this guy has a very good track record when it comes to this, because Discovery have really smashed it in terms of not just the wildlife and stuff side, but they also own a lot of the cooking channels and stuff like that.
And documentaries and bits and
Yeah,
bobs.
exactly. Yeah. And what they've done is very similar to what Disney has done with their studios, in that they've given each part of their stable autonomy. So just like how Kevin Feige has autonomy over Marvel Studios, like the person who runs the cooking channels has autonomy. Like he has the right to do whatever he wants to do, and he only has to report to Savlav.
Right.
And each of them have the same thing, and it's worked out very well. They've turned. I mean, they've managed to turn enough profit to be able to buy Warner Media. So
that's not £10 out of your back pocket.
Exactly. So that's saying something. You know what I mean? And so he knows how to run these kind of things. And I think with that being said, and what he's just said now about not trying to outdo Disney and Netflix and Apple, because as you said, Leon, he probably won't be able to he definitely won't be able to do Apple or Amazon, because they're the two richest companies around, $1 trillion companies. Apple is, at least, anyway. Probably won't be able to outdo Disney.
No.
Netflix, maybe not, because a lot of their money's borrowed. But again, he's focusing on quality.
He's got to do something else.
Right.
Got to have that new strategy.
You've got to, because let's be honest, for all these companies, even Apple, the current status quo of spend, it's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. Like, you know what I mean? If this carries on, a lot of companies are going to go out of business. And even the companies that stay in business, they're going to be left in a not so good position. So that's my take on it, man. I mean, what's your take on it, Damien?
I mean, the first thing I look at is the fact of where he's coming from in regards to what Warner Bros. And what HBO and what Discovery produce content-wise. Now, when you bring up the two that you brought up in terms of like the big money makers of Apple and Amazon, they're both stretched in regards to what their output is. Apple is stuck in devices, everything else. The TV is a very small part of what they do, at that beast. Same thing with Amazon. Again, their TV, I mean, I don't really use Amazon Prime TV that much at all. It's very much a small tailored part of a bigger package which comes with Amazon. With Disney, yes, but then you've got the theme parks, everything else.
It's still a very small part.
With Netflix, they were really the first sole only thing we do is streaming. There's nothing else comes with, that's it. Back to Leon's point as well, they're always in debt because everything is borrowed. He's coming at it from an approach of like Discovery have put out for 2-3 decades, just solid material, whether it's Shark Week, whether it's the latest, Discovery venture, it's always
David Attenborough fishing.
It's there. Then when you bring in HBO have not made really a bad show.
They are with Netflix in terms of best shows. They've really. I mean, we don't get to see too many of their shows because obviously we don't have HBO Max in this country. But what we do see on Sky, it's
all right.
It's solid. So I think the agenda of we're not going to get out there and blow our load and try to pitch and say we've got more money than this, or we're going to put as much money and compete with Netflix or Disney, is the right approach to have, because he's focusing on content that's going to give them longevity and sustainability. That's what you need to do. If you're going to run out there and go, we're going to bring Discovery and HBO, and we're going to blow you guys out of water, and we're going to spend X amount of billions on this. No, he's just going to be shouting and clapping from the same top place of the building that everyone else is. He's coming from it from a logistics standpoint of we need to make solid material, which we already do. We've got a track record of sustainability through Discovery and through HBO. Coming together now and buying Warner Bros. Gives us the opportunity to have a bigger landscape. And for me, that's a threat to Netflix.
It's an
That's
add-on.
the way I look at it.
Remember, Discovery's doing its own thing. It's an add-on. So if you add something on, it can only be better. Do you know what I mean? They're not trying to buy a losing.
No.
They're not buying a sinking ship. It's sustainable.
And
So
I think that's one of the biggest threats to. I don't think Disney so much. I don't think Amazon, if it was a threat to Amazon, they've got too much stuff they deal with. But in regards to just streaming, I think Netflix is going to be the biggest one that comes under threat.
Because as we said, look, I understand that Amazon and Apple, that's a small part of theirs. But what you've also got to understand is they're backed by everything else that they do. They've got so much money. Remember, I was working at some point on a Apple as security on an Apple show, and the amount of money, I won't go into specifics, but the amount of money they flung away, and it just did not bother them, was astronomical.
But then,
do you know what I mean?
Not discrediting that at all. They put out amazing stuff, but How many people do you know go home and go, yeah, I'm going to watch anything on Apple today?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
I
right.
actually
You're
don't
right.
know anyone.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. The only shows that I know that are doing well on there are Foundation, and then there's the morning show.
I only know from when you speak. When you tell me something's going on Apple or something.
Or I'm auditioning for something on
Yeah,
Apple.
that's the only time I hear Apple. I never say someone go, have you seen that new show? What's it on? Apple. Don't hear it.
Yeah.
It's Netflix, it's Disney Plus, it's Amazon, it's anywhere. But Apple.
But Apple just new on the scene. But I take your point. That because again, it goes back to what I'm saying about it. You can't just chuck money at the problem because Apple have all the money in the world.
Yeah,
and I don't think them chucking money at things is just going to work for them. It's long term. It's just not sustainable.
Everyone needs a Kevin Feige, mate.
Right? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? and listen,
I'll chuck money at him and tell him get over.
Oh yeah, 100%. If I'm going to chuck money at anyone, it's going to be him.
How much they paying you? Twice.
I want to big us up a little bit here because I want to use us as an analogy. When I speak about chucking money at problems or chucking money at things and expecting it to guarantee success, we just started our YouTube channel in September.
Technically October.
Right. Yeah. The way we have grown in that space of time from then till now has been amazing. When we started, there were a few channels that were way above us in terms of everything. Views, subscribers, and they spent a lot of money, as we know, on their surroundings, their whatever. They spent a lot of money, basically. While we spent some money, we didn't blow our bank accounts on
because we
setting up this shit.
I'm gonna tell you straight.
We spend more our time, which in hindsight you could say is more of an investment than money because we can't get that time back.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, we do it because this is our passion, right? But as a consequence of being smart with our money and not just blowing it, we are now ahead of those channels in terms of views, in terms of subscribers that were once ahead of us. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them we are ahead of.
And we ain't even that far ahead. But it just shows you.
Right. In a short space of time that we've had, remember, these channels were we're talking about, they were the 300 subscribers plus up on us when we started. And so had plenty of views. We had zero. And now we are over them in top of views and subscribers. And it just goes to show that just spending money without having a good plan doesn't work. And this is what this Zavslav has made very clear. And that's why I think at the moment he's the smartest guy in this streaming world. And I think it's going to show in the coming years that he's got the right approach. And I think you're going to see that all the other streaming platforms are going to start following him in that respect.
They should do.
They will. Because again, this what they're doing in the streaming wars is not sustainable, is it? It is not. I mean, how much we did a show one time and we mentioned that how Disney are spending 33 billion or some stupid number like that on content. Like, how is that sustainable? How? And especially when you think about what's happened in the last couple of years, how is any of that sustainable? I mean, for the pandemic that's just happened, they're going to have to spend years recouping all that money from their parks, from their merchandise, everything. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of spend is not sustainable. You've got Netflix pumping out, I don't know how many billions a year, and they're borrowing that money. That's not sustainable. So,
but you know, there's a Mickey Mouse, a Minnie Mouse lunchbox, and the sunglasses, and a T-shirt, and the socks getting sold every minute, but it's all over the world. Still, I'm just saying, like,
I understand
all
what you're
over
saying,
the world.
But even that, it still doesn't make it sustainable. This is the problem. If you're talking about spending over what the competition is spending, it's not sustainable. I mean, even for the two biggest guys, we just said, Apple and Amazon. They won't be able to sustain that. I mean, they'll be able to sustain it longer than everyone else. But at the end of the day, it's still not sustainable.
But Disney, they have a plan. Like that
They
money
do,
is allocated from
but-
somewhere. They're not gonna brat themselves.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
don't know.
Some companies have.
Some companies,
Do you
but
know what I mean?
how long's Disney been going now?
1930 something.
Since the 30s.
Yeah.
So, they're trademarked to the hill, their content to the hill.
And don't get me wrong, you're right. I mean, when they first, I remember when they first started Disney Plus, they didn't even. They don't even license any shows. Everything is in house, and it was all their in-house stuff, or their back catalog stuff that they put on there because they knew the kids are gonna watch them.
Remember the winner.
Yeah,
remember your boy's gonna watch everything.
That's
come out today in 5 years, and the ones that came out in the 70s, he's gonna be watching Dumbo. He's gonna be watching Snow White and whatnot. Like all over again. And he'll be like, he'll catch on to something. Oh, Dad, I like that. And then you know what the kids are like. Be like, can I have a Mickey Mouse T-shirt? Can I have a hat? Or
I think
the ears or whatever.
But I think the biggest thing in the next few years, as it's been in the last 10 to 15 years, that's going to sustain Disney.
It's Marvel.
Right.
It's Marvel.
Right.
Yeah, but they're winning. They are winning.
Anything with the Marvel brand now is just...
Told you. Flick of the
Have you seen
pages.
the latest Lego sets there, man? Jeez. My son was looking at the Spider-Man the Daily Bugle Lego set the other day. £300 for a Spider-Man Lego set. And it's just the tower. It's, you know what it's got now? It's got Blade in the set.
Really?
One of the small characters of 20. And the costume, because Lego did this with Thor as well recently. The actual costume for the new Thor villain is in the Lego set. The Blade costume looks a bit like Marshall. I was like, okay, is that what it's going to look like? So Lego tend to do that. So yeah, but anyway.
Nice.
Yeah,
You see that?
Marvel pushing.
Listen, if I'm buying that, I'm not opening it.
Collectors.
You know them ones.
In the box.
You can just look at it, child. But I want to play with it.
No.
Sit down, just look at it. Pretend you're playing with it. I'm an actor. Start acting. Pretend you're playing with it. Alright?
Physical theatre right now.
You know what I mean?
What does the Lego feel like? Imagine them connecting.
Yeah, but listen, I think it's safe to say that Warner Media is in good hands with Discovery. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I expect to see.
Certified.
I'm very interested to see what they do. Just to close this out, I'm very interested to see what they do with the DC universe because that's been a shambles. You know, what I mean,
Somebody needs to come and
we've had. Listen, I would. Funnily, how you mentioned earlier, you guys mentioned about buying Feige. I wouldn't be surprised if that's their next move.
I would do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's their next move.
do it.
I would offer him
A 2-year contract.
I would 2 years.
No, but he's on his money don't mean anything to him. So you've got to remember, it's like he's a man that wants a challenge and to do something.
You
So
got to go to him.
you got to go to him.
Can you fix this?
Can you fix this? I need you. You know, one of those. Because money's nothing to him.
Yeah, well, he's made all the money.
Nothing to him.
The thing is, like, Gunn flip-flops back between DC and Marvel. The actors flip-flop back between DC and Marvel. What's wrong with the guy head up flip back between
Yeah. Well, someone funnily mentioned on John Campion's show, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, that do they ever think there's going to be a DC versus Marvel film because it was in the comics, there was a crossover.
And you better head that up.
Right, and that was the answer. That they can't see it happening, but if it does happen, then it makes sense to DC just to say, "Here you go, Feige."
Well, do
you know what I mean?
Which here's my bit. Do you know what I mean? Here's mine.
You know what I mean?
I'm in. What do you want? You know what I mean?
Because
my wife. You know what I mean? Whatever you need. DC's on the floor.
Oh man, I don't think he wasn't that bad, bro.
DC wanted that bad.
Well,
money after money after.
But yeah, man, I mean, I could see that happening. I could see them just DC. Obviously, Marvel side is controlled by Kevin Feige. I could see them doing a Sony because basically that's what Sony do. Sony give Kevin Feige autonomy, and Sony just distribute.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? But Kevin Feige has control of what happens in the Sony Marvel films as well.
He's playing the strings.
Yeah, so it makes sense for DC just to say, "Here you go," because Kevin Feige is a comic book nerd as well, connoisseur. So he knows DC inside out as well as Marvel.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to do the same for DC.
And you've got to think at some point he's been sitting there going, how can I make that work?
Yeah.
I'm sure someone like him. Yeah. Someone like him.
And that would just up his legacy.
Oh, bro.
Only
I mean, his
guy
legacy is
ever.
cemented as
No,
it
it's
is.
cemented now.
But if he was to do that, I mean, they should have everything in Hollywood named after Feige.
That's what I'm saying.
If he manages to do that with DC,
He's like the Elon Musk of films.
Yeah.
He is though.
The